The swims are not the hardest part. they're just not. Actually, you know what? Getting up every morning and training, and like right now I'm on a double cycle, morning and night. I have been for about a month and a half. That's the hardest part.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today, I'm here with Steve Moby-Leach. He's an ultra-endurance athlete, mentor, and speaker who is passionate about faith, recovery, and living with purpose. We're going to talk about this stuff. Folks listening, what I'm seeing in the bio, there's some pretty crazy things here, but we'll let you tell your story, and I may have some specific questions about some of it. But first, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show today. I'm really excited to talk and hear your story and share it with the audience. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for having me. I look forward to having a fun little conversation. I think life is I think it was Sue Soller that put us together, and she's just an amazing person. So a big shout out to Sue. Love her and what she does and how she just supports people around her. So thanks for having me.
Sue's great. I'm so glad she made this connection. Well, let's just start with some of your story, your background, let people know a little bit about you, and then we'll just dive in from there.
Sure. Let's do the highlight reel or low light reel, whatever you want to call it. So I was born in Edinburgh, Scotland. Mom and dad grew up in a Christian family. My dad was an evangelist, preached with Billy Graham and all in the Christian circles all around the world. He actually came to Moody Bible Institute in Chicago in 1966. So left his home country in a twin prop plane with my mother that refueled in Greenland. In 66 went to Chicago. This guy never graduated high school, but got a degree from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. And was always definitely, I would say, wherever God called him is where he went. And was definitely always wondering what was over the next mountain. He talks about that growing up in the farm. Let me just do this real quick. Let's put this on Do Not Disturb so we don't get a bunch of dings. And it was great, grew up in those circles, but grew up a very insecure kid because I really didn't understand Christianity, didn't understand faith, didn't understand how everybody in the church seems to be perfect. And I'm like, but I've got all these questions. And so in my teenage years, I was a big swimmer and really involved in the swim team, national team, swimming all over. And just seemed like the kids in the swimming world were having way more fun than the church world. And I didn't really feel like I fit in the church world. So I was trying to force myself to fit in the swimming world, but still, I would say, got bullied and made fun of and all this stuff there. So just super insecure, and ended up going to Clemson University in South Carolina in 1991 to swim. Failed out. I dropped out of swimming after freshman year. Dropped out of school a couple years after, just not doing good. Working in restaurants, had got involved in drugs and alcohol. And really, again, trying to fit in with everybody. Kind of fell into the restaurant hospitality business while I was at Clemson. And when I left Clemson, went back to Scotland, did a culinary degree, trained with a master chef. And that kind of started a 15-year functioning addict, if you will. I don't know how functioning. Looking back, I'm like, I don't know how anybody thought I was functioning, but apparently I was. And when the economy crashed in 2008, I just opened a restaurant. So by 2010, when I'm closing the restaurant, I I'm making really bad choices. My former had kicked me out, as well she should have. I was spiritually bankrupt, financially bankrupt, relationally completely bankrupt, and physically, like one step from the grave, really. And just gave my life over to the Lord. And I'd like to say that everything got better right at that moment in time, but it just started a process. But it's been an incredible process over the last 14 years. Fast forward to now, today, we're now, 14 months into having our first mentorship home, where we mentor men who have gone through recovery and just how to rebuild a new life, not try and get their old life back, rebuild a new life, so that they in turn can become mentors for other men. And that's really my passion. Also got back into swimming 7 years ago, and open water swimming. I would like to say that I like to compete, but I don't love to compete. I just like to see how far I can swim and how long I can swim, and stumbled along into these Ocean 7 challenges. And so 2 years ago in April, around Easter Sunday, it was Easter Sunday 2 years ago, swam from Molokai to Oahu, 94th person in history to do that, 26 miles through the middle of the night. And but we had already decided when I was getting into this long swimming that we're going to do it for other people, raise money for other things. And so that money helped raise, that swim helped raise money for foster families with Miracle Hill in the upstate of South Carolina to get counseling. And a year later, with people matching what we had raised, the first part-time counselor started and is still working to this day, which is amazing. So I'll just say that's kind of an overview. Like, hey, we do recover. Been clean and sober 14 years by the grace of God. Never went to rehab. But again, there's been very influential people being placed in my life at certain times for certain things, and that's been amazing. And again, just I'm here by the grace of God, with a bigger purpose, which is to swim, to serve others.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
I mean,
that's the sanitized
yeah, yeah, yeah.
5 minute.
The Cliff Notes version
Yeah.
of a really, I mean, the thing that stands out, right? Like you look at the bio and you sent, and that's 26, 28 mile swim. That's that that's incredible, because I have there's no chance I could swim that far, and it just sounds like, a very remarkable, especially open water swim. I have done some short open water swims and realize how hard that is. So remarkable, but I would guess that that's achievable because it's probably not the hardest thing that you went through. Hearing your story, like the the ability to kind of pull out of addiction. I've seen it in my family, and it's the reason why I have never drank or done drugs or anything. I've seen enough of it to it just always turned me off. So it's something that's very, I guess, I don't know, personal to me, or however you want to say it. Like I recognize that space. I haven't been a part of it, but it impacted me in a lot of ways. And so I would guess that those swimming 28 miles is amazing, and sounds like, I think you said there's 96 people that have done it. Like, it's incredible, but probably not as hard as what you went through from an addiction standpoint, and what you're doing for people, to help them through recovery as well.
Yeah, everyone says is that the hardest thing you've done in life, is battling addiction. I was like, no, it wasn't. It was hard, but once you've got divorced and you've hit rock bottom and you're rebuilding a new life, and you're having to drop your kids off after visitation, that's the most painful, hardest thing you've ever done. Once you're, my dad's, it would have been my dad's 86th birthday tomorrow, and 3 years ago, and on Father's Day is when he passed, and 8 weeks before that, my non-biological sister passed of ALS. Again, one of the hardest things I've ever gone through in my life. Um, you know, I didn't, I didn't, I chose the path of addiction. People say it chooses you. Well, no, I chose to to seek it out, to find it, to do these things and to continue. Um, but my kids didn't choose to be in the situation they were in with their dad dropping them off.
Yeah.
So the pain I felt for them was even greater than the pain I felt for myself. And now being remarried 10 years and got a blended family, and it's gone great and it's gone horribly, and the hardest thing I'm going through right now, just because I'm 14 years clean and sober doesn't mean everything's perfect, right? And just because I'm walking in faith doesn't mean everything's great. My 16-year-old son is choosing not to talk to me right now, and I've basically seen him, even though we live a mile apart. I've basically seen him about 3 times in the last year and a half. So we talk about hard things, and I think this is where mentorship is really needed, because just because you get clean or you get sober doesn't mean your life's gonna, magic wand Harry Potter. Everything's going to be perfect. It's not. There's going to be fallout. There's going to be carnage, and there's things you're going to have to work through. So I would say, like, what you actually said is like so true. The swims are not the hardest part.
Yeah.
they're just not. Actually, you know what? Getting up every morning and training, and like right now I'm on a double cycle, morning and night, and I have been for about a month and a half. That's the hardest part. I'm still, it's like every morning that battle. Okay, I've got to get up. I got to get up. I got to get up, and just day. But that's where having that why of this is greater than just human achievement, where you're doing it for someone else comes in, and also knowing that just I feel called to do this. This is a way for me to serve other people. God calling me into this purpose. So it's like it's just greater than me, and but it doesn't always make it easy.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets it either. Like, it's cost a lot of money to go do these swims, and they're not easy. I did the English Channel last year, and did part of North Channel, got a few miles from Scotland shore, and I got pulled out. 10 hours in 53-degree water, and I'm going back to finish that one this year. But again, that's me choosing to be in that situation. So
Yeah.
my why definitely has to be bigger than just going out and swimming.
Yeah. The piece about sort of choosing these things is probably we all make choices in life, and it's like you're ultimately, realistically, everything is some sort of choice. Whether things happen that we don't have control of, but also we have a choice that we make to respond to what that like there's things that happen that don't impact us, but like speaking in our own personal lives. And I think that um the choices that you make can either be generally like negative or positive. I don't know that there's always a lot of gray area. I think when you talk about big things, like when you're talking about these swims, that's a choice that you're making. It's positive, and you're using it to have impact. And then if you look at following a path of addiction as a negative choice, like I think we always have a responsibility in what we do in whatever. And I don't like addiction is a disease. I understand that, I guess, peripherally, but I also I think at the end of the day, like you decide to do something. You decide you can have other diseases that you can decide to treat. So I think there's decisions that we make. But the competition piece you mentioned is you like to compete. It sounds like probably you like to compete with yourself
Yeah.
more than actually like being put in a competitive situation against others, which um, just seeing competing with what can I handle? Like what's the what's
Mhm.
the next level? What steps can I reach? How do you think all of it ties in together? Do you think that there's a almost like a peace found in those routines? How do you am I totally off base that this stuff kind of all ties together? What do you think?
Yeah. So is there a piece in it? Yeah. There's. I can put it like this. This is a really great story. Dial back to last summer, July 11th or 12th, whatever. I'm sitting in the apartment in Folkestone, England, and we've been going back and forth with the boat captain, Captain Eddie. He's amazing. Eddie Spelling, look him up. He's fantastic. Um, Going back and forth on whether are we going to be able to go, or are we not going to be able to go. And finally, at 6 o'clock at night, okay, we're going to go. You sure? Yeah, we'll go. Let's do it. And he said it would be a bit lumpy, but the winds were going to die down. Should be okay. Meet me at the dock at 2:30 in the morning. So that means we got to get up at 12:30 at night, and it's 6 o'clock at night. Right after that, I get a text from one of the guys in one of our mentorship homes, and his roommate had gone off the reservation a few weeks before. He was living by himself, and I kept trying to get other guys in there. I'm in a different country. I'm talking with a program that we work closely with, trying to get somebody in there because I'm like, this guy is going to relapse if we do not get him a roommate. I can see it coming a mile away. And sure enough, we choose to do the swim. About just a few hours, maybe an hour after that, I can see his name. Mitch texts me and goes, "Hey, I just want you to know, I've relapsed. I'm in the house. Do I need to be out?" And I said, "Where are you going to go?" He goes, "I'll just sleep in my car." I said, "If you promise not to steal anything, break anything, mess anything up, stay there. Be safe." And just started telling him about, because I truly believe God created him for a purpose. So I just, reading some scripture, or, texting some scripture over and the next day when I'm swimming the English Channel, so I get to sleep at like 10 o'clock at night. I'm up at 12:30 to go to this swim. And, I'm jumping off a boat. I can't even say, I think it was like maybe 4:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning, jumping off this boat, pitch black, into big chop, swim into a rock beach with sandstone cliffs behind it, like the White Cliffs of Dover, because they're just further up than where we were. And my wife's puking on the boat already. I feel like I'm going to be sick. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, well, I've got to do this. But then I've got this time. I've got nothing but time and space in my hand to just swim and pray, swim and problem solve through this sickness, through, what's going on. Even had a seal come up and nuzzle my toes, which was really cool, by the way. I got a lot of time. It was a 13-hour swim. It was a shorter swim than Hawaii, but the current just wasn't great with me, or how I was going. And it actually took me longer than it was a 8 mile or 6 mile shorter swim. It took me 30 minutes more or 20 minutes more. But it gave me time to pray for him. And Mitch ended up getting back into a safe place within a week. To this day, he's doing great. We talk quite a bit, and probably his relapse was one of the best things that happened to him, because now he's, really taking his faith seriously, not just his sobriety and being clean. And I say all that because what an opportunity for me. Just well, I've got 13 hours to pray for people, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I do. And when I'm swimming by myself, is pray for others, think about things, also go through a lot of pain and figure out how I'm going to get through it. Asking, okay, I need some help here. Um, but the whole process is incredible because I think you find out a lot about who you are, what you are, how you've been living, what you're going through. You know, it kind of becomes your new delta, and then you're able to say, okay, this is who I am today. But
Mhm.
then, but who does God want me to be tomorrow? You know, and you just keep moving through that process. So yeah, it is a lot of peace for me. I wouldn't, if people are like, well, you're addicted to swimming now. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not, because I have a balanced life. I'm not burning down the rest of my life just to swim, you know.
Right.
And I think that's the key to it. Plus, again, we've got it very rooted in a why. Like I swim not just to make the movie Beyond the Shoreline, the Channel of Bones, not just to write a book last year Against the Current, not just to raise money for some people, but for specific groups who we feel God's calling us. The swims we're going to be doing these next 2 years are all going to be raising money for Rising Tides Ministry, our ministry that is mentorship homes for men, to become mentors. So they in turn go back into their communities with a new life in Christ and share what they're doing. So
Yeah. No,
that was a long answer, but I
no,
think
I mean
it
that's great. I mean, I think this is the kind of stuff that understanding, you know, uh, understanding why someone would do this and why, you have obviously a strong purpose. Um, what so where does I'm thinking I can guess, but where does Moby come from? Is this related to the swimming, or is that,
oh yeah,
what's
take a guess. Where did
yeah?
movie come from?
I mean, I would guess from Moby Dick, the whale. I'm not sure. I'm not even
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
sure.
it's
Yeah, that's
that would be
yeah,
my guess
yeah,
as a swimmer, an endurance swimmer.
yeah. It came from that. So we were our first granddaughter was due. Oh gosh, she just turned 2. So March 17th, 2022, like 2 weeks before I did the swim in Hawaii. And I'd been swimming, doing some things for a few years before that. Um, but no channels, none of the 7 channels. And we're coming up with grandparent names. And we were just missing. Like we were not getting good names. And finally I'm like, you guys decide, I'm done. Like, just call me shark bait or chum. Like I literally at this point I don't care what you call me. And a few of the kids text back and were like, "We're going to call you Moby." I'm like, "Well, at least it's better than Dick." And we're going to call my bride. We're going to call her Mamie, which actually means of the ocean or something, which we didn't know at the time, which is really funny because she doesn't like water like I do. Um, it's like a cat with trying to get in the bathtub. She's kind of like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, so Steve Moby-Leach. My middle name was Allen. I was named after Dr. Allen Redpath. He was a pastor who came from Chicago, from Moody Church in Chicago, to our church in Scotland. And he was the one that was very instrumental in getting my dad into the Moody Bible Institute. So I was Steve Allen Leach. And I just, once the granddaughter came along and they gave me that name, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go by Steve Moby-Leach because I believe just with from a I'm going to really bring our family together by like I'm just going to own that and the blendedness of it.
Mhm.
But also it was partially like what a great marketing name.
Yeah, yeah,
Like there's only
right.
one Steve Moby Leach online, and I
Yeah,
can and when you hear your granddaughter call you Moby for the first time, you're like, okay, let's go run through some walls.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It,
so
I'm
it,
sure
it, you
that's
know,
pretty motivating. I mean, it is a great, sort of very on brand for
yeah,
swimming, and especially since you're raising funds for your support groups, and I just it's you touched on relationships with kids and grandkids and all of that here a couple times, and I know we talked about the difficult things, and it's like I've never, I mean, knock on wood doesn't even seem strong enough, but our kids are healthy. They're young. The relationships are good, but it's like the amount of uh, pain that I will feel just when like one of the kids is mad and it's like, you're not my best friend, daddy. Like, like the things that kids do. And I'm like, I feel like it shouldn't be such a hard thing to hear, but I'm like, no, I don't like doing right by them is like, I can't think of a like stronger thing, a stronger drive for me. And I, this goes along with this Moby name from your granddaughter, like that, like the power that they can impart just by existing, almost like just by it's kind of an amazing I don't know, motivational tool. I don't know exactly what the right word is, but it just like I don't, so every once in a while, like the kids will joke and say, say Jason, like say my name, and I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not. I'm dad. I'm dad. I'm daddy. Like that's my name to you, and that's what matters to me. And so I think being able to take that sort of really meaningful family relationship and really make it a part of you is just super powerful. I mean, and great, it's on brand too. But like, but it's just a super powerful, like you say, run through walls that when you hear that.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like a superhero cape, like
Yeah, right.
you put it on and you're because last week. So last week we had Eden, Goldie, and the wee man Hutchison with us, and our daughter was with her son, newborn son Hutchison. But Eden comes in and she's like, "Hey, baby," and she sees me, Moby, and comes running, jumps over the side of the couch,
Yeah,
jumps into my arms, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'll go swim 20 hours in 53-degree water just to prove to you, my granddaughter, that anything's capable when you put your mind to it and you step into your
right.
purpose and all these things. Like
Yeah,
I'll prove it with action.
yeah,
You can go serve others in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be a traditional way. It can be whatever way God calls you to serve.
yeah.
And and it's like all that culminates in that hug.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's like, hi, dun,
Oh
dun,
yeah.
dun.
Yeah. And I mean, I love what you just said there is like take your strengths that you already have, like you're a swimmer, you're an accomplished swimmer, like take those strengths that you already have to serve others, like without it's a I don't I don't want to minimize it and say like it's easier that way in a way, like take what you're already good at. I think like people I think sometimes we like avoid helping, avoid you know helping people, serving others, because we don't know the right way. And like there isn't a right way, like just take what you already have and use it. In your case, swimming, like take what you already have and use it to help others. Like that's really, and everybody has something, like everybody has value to the world.
Mhm.
You just be willing to use it. You can help exponentially more people by
Yeah,
being, I guess, practical about it.
yeah. There's two parts to that. The first part is don't let your past define you or slow you down. Because if truth be told, I didn't swim from 18 years old to 36.
Mm,
Like, didn't swim.
yeah.
So what am I? Well, yeah, I was a functioning addict for 18 to 36. So like a lot of people would say, well, you're never going to have a swim career again. I didn't expect to have a swim career. I just kind of stumbled into it. Started doing open water races. But then, so number one, don't let anybody tell you, or especially yourself, don't tell yourself, I, I can't do this because of my past.
Mhm.
Your past does not define you. And then and the flip side, also, the second part is, I heard this super powerful story a couple weeks ago. Guy coming from, I think it was Houston in Texas, and him and his wife had started fostering later in life, or part in life, and he was just saying, one of his friends is a big barbecue guy, owns a barbecue, mobile barbecue truck, and all this, and he was like, we were called to foster children. He's not called to foster children. But what he was called to do was to help feed foster families. So every week he goes around and takes barbecue, delivers barbecue to the houses of foster families in their network. He's using his skills, his talents, his know-how, what he's good at to support others. So it doesn't matter, if you don't feel called to do this thing, like what do I love doing? And how could I go serve with that skill and talent? You know?
Yep. Yeah.
And that becomes,
Yeah.
so that's like the purpose driven business. I did a lot of sales coaching on that, like having a business that actually, um, everybody in your team can buy into the mission,
Mhm.
which is, what is the mission? Whether it's helping, some charity in the community, more than just lining the owner's retirement pocket. You know,
Right.
what is this business actually? Why does this exist? Well, it exists because every part of every sale that we make goes towards X, Y, and Z. You know, and that, when when you have a purpose behind what you're doing, yes, it's like rocket fuel. It makes the hard days a little easier as long as you remember why you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's, I don't know that I could have come up with a better segue, but I mean, the name of the name of the podcast is Know Your Why. And I think that's what we've talked about. Most of this here, I think, a lot of this centers around your why, but I still want to give you the opportunity to, if there's anything you want to add to that, to get into any more specifics about your why, and kind of all that you do is very, very purpose driven, and it's amazing. I think that's, I would just give you a minute to expand on anything you want to about that.
Yeah. So the thing about using your skills and talents and having a purpose is usually, when you step into it, not everybody understands it. And you have to be ready for the critics, the naysayers, the I don't know why you're doing this, the blah, 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 blah. There's this really powerful video out on the internet. It's been out for years. And it's this one guy, it's at a concert, and he's dancing really funnily by himself, like just this super weird dance. And eventually, some other guy comes and starts dancing with him, and he embraces him and is like, yeah. And they're dancing like really weird together. And then, a few more join. Before you know it, like half the crowd has come to like dance in circle, but he started by dancing by himself. And the moral of that story is like, if you slow down and you really take time to understand why God created you, because I believe this, God only created one of us. So we there's only one of us with our purpose, and that He put us on this earth to do. And when you take time to slow down and find out what that is, it might not make sense to everyone. So be prepared for that. But as you do it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, um, people will start to take notice. People will start to help. People will start to get on board, and before you know it, you've got a tribe around you that is literally with megaphones going, "We believe in this guy and his mission because God gave it to you." You know, so don't never think, because the most unlikely people will encourage you. and the most unlikely people you think would encourage you don't. The
Yeah.
most likely ones you think are going to encourage you actually don't, and the
Yep.
ones who do encourage you, you're like, where did you come from? I didn't even know you were watching. You know, so
Yeah.
I think you just gotta. I've, I don't think enough people talk about that in purpose.
Yeah. That's a really great point and thing for people to think, because I think when you find that purpose in like in your mind, you're so committed to it. You're so like, this is great. Like, I am going to make a difference here. And then the first time someone pushes back on that, it's like, it's very shocking. It's a very, you don't, because you're it for you in that purpose, like it you truly believe in it. And like, to find out anyone else would have something, I mean, this, like, I can give an example here. Like, we have um we have an investment fund. I try to keep this short, but basically we donate 25% of the profits that the company makes out of the investment fund to Not One More Vet, which is an organization that is dedicated towards helping veterinarians going through mental stress and decreasing the suicide rate among veterinarians. I'm a veterinarian, so it's a space that is important to me, and Not One More Vet is like easily the most well recognized organization for trying to help in this space. And so when I created the fund and like started, you do the marketing, you talk to people about it, whatever. I was shocked when like more than one person was like, "Oh, some people don't like Not One More Vet," and I was like, I don't even like that. Blew my mind, because I was like, you may not like someone there, you may not think they run it perfectly, but like, literally, this is an organization dedicated to helping veterinarians not commit suicide. Like, is there something like, how can that be wrong? Like, to me, how could that be wrong? And I was like, okay. I mean, it was really, I was like, okay, well, if someone doesn't think that that's a good thing, then that's fine. Don't be a part of it. I
Yeah,
like, and I think that's like, that's the fact that you brought that up, and that not everybody is gonna maybe jump on board immediately, because I think we as humans don't always look at bigger picture. And I think it's like, you're like, oh, I don't like this one speck of something, so I won't like the entirety of it. Like, that's a very
yeah,
common um, theme. But yeah, when it comes to creating impact and doing something to help others, it will be pretty shocking and hard to hear when someone says like they don't like your idea. Like, that's which, it's like, in business that happens all the time, but when you're thinking, I'm trying to do something to help people, and someone's like, not a good idea, you're like, well, I don't, what's a bad idea about not of helping people? I don't.
hmm
So
hmm
I just appreciate that you said that, because I do think that's a it could be something that would stop someone from doing something.
hmm
They come up with this idea, and they want to help people, and they want to serve and give back and whatever, and someone's like, oh, I don't like your logo, I don't like your, like, and it's like, who cares, like, about it, it's just things like that. But I think sometimes it stops people, and so I think that is actually um, an important thing to know. Like, if you want to help people, just help people. It's okay. Like, don't
yeah,
don't
yeah,
listen to people. Don't listen to people's negativity around it.
yeah, and just have that conviction. Like, don't even try and defend yourself. You spend more energy trying to defend yourself than just saying, okay, so here's what I feel God's calling me to do. Here's where I'm heading. If you want to get on board, great. If you don't want to get on board, great. I like I
Yeah.
just I could be totally wrong. I might be totally wrong, but this is what I know and believe is what I'm being called to do. and you know, you kind of want to get defensive, be like, well, what are you doing? Because you'll find out that they're usually the ones that are pushing back on everything, and
Yeah.
not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know,
And I mean, again, it's like you said it before, you don't, sometimes you get this type of feedback from outside, but you also sometimes get it from yourself. There's a lot of, limiting beliefs and all of this. So I just think that like you said, having conviction around something you believe in, and it's okay. It's okay if not everybody else does. Like it's okay if not everybody agrees with what you want to do in, especially in this type of scenario. Like you're just trying to help people. Like I just always thought about it. I was like if somehow our donation stops one person from committing suicide, pretty worth it.
I
Like
mean, well,
pretty worth it.
that's
Like
almost the comeback. What's the price you're putting on that life?
right. Like I
Wait,
just
so you'd rather me not give money and somebody die? Like, I don't
yeah.
even know what we're talking
I,
about here.
it was yeah. It was. I mean, it's kind of it was an interesting thing for me to hear because I was just like, but when you said that, I was like, yeah, I guess that is true. I was very surprised by it, but also was like two things. I mean, like I said, one my two responses to that were one I just said like if it helps one person not commit suicide, like I'm good with
Yeah,
that. The other
yeah,
thing is, so like suppose you're in a scenario where you have a cause, a specific cause that's important to you, and you're donating whatever that is. You're donating time, you're donating money, but if you become someone who is like, if I'm donating a large amount of money to Not One More Vet, don't you think I might have some influence on how things work? Like that's what happens in those scenarios. Like people start to get in onto boards of directors. People start to have like actual impact in behind the scenes. It's like what you're doing. You're coaching people through recovery to then go coach other people. It's like it's an exponential level of help that can be achieved if you stick to that conviction and kind of see it through. So I mean, it's just um, it's fascinating that people push back on things like that. But I mean, it is what it is. You're not. That's I think what struck me about what you said is like people should know it's going to happen. Like it's you're going to have something that you're convicted about, passionate about. Someone's going to tell you they don't like your idea. It doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter. And so to just keep going if you believe in it. So that's my that's my soapbox there for a minute, but I think it
I
was
like it. I'm like, okay, preaching the choir over here. Like,
yeah. I mean, I
especially
think that
coming
like, it's a
from
powerful
someone.
message.
Yeah, because coming from someone who, I told you at the beginning, like super insecure, trying to fit in with everyone else, trying to, like I was trying to fit in. So then you start doing something that's pretty unconventional, and it doesn't really give you a lot of room to fit in. It's definitely different.
Yeah,
You know, there's not a lot of people. When you look at the English Channel, being people, less people have swum that than done Everest, and that's English Channel is I think like 3,400 people or something, or 2,600 people or something like that. But I think for the Hawaii swim, my friend Lorelei, she's going out next. She leaves 2 days from now. She's like 16, and she's heading out to do this swim, which is super cool. But it's like it doesn't compute for people. And it would be the same as someone who, like, I look at the people who like jump off cliffs in like those flying squirrel suits.
yeah,
Like it doesn't compute for me. But you know what? If
yeah,
that's what you're doing to help somebody else, so be
yeah,
it. Like,
yeah.
one more vet for veterinarians. I never even knew about it.
Mhm.
Like I don't
Most
even
people don't.
know. I've never heard of that in my life.
Right.
And you have this conviction and this power and this purpose to move forward and help people like that and give money and donate and be a part of that. And I'm like, yeah, how dare somebody get in the way of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a I don't know. It is what it is. But I think it is hard to. I mean, I'm I'm old enough to have at least decreased the amount of caring about what other people think.
Right, right, right.
But yeah. I mean, I was the same. Like I was. It was always like I guess I never felt. I didn't try to fit in because I think I think a lot of people did it the way that you did, and I just didn't. I couldn't even like. That wasn't even in my mind that I could go that route, and so it was. I just always felt like I didn't fit in, and so
Hmm.
I've gotten used to that and less and less care less and less about it. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to kind of experience that pushback. But well, Steve, this has been great. When people hear this and they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah. So Steve Moby-Leach, type it in ChatGPT, Google, wherever you want, whatever you
Everyone,
want to use for search engine these days,
yep.
and it'll pop up. Facebook, Twitter, um, TikTok, all over. But our website for Rising Tides, our mentorship homes for men, should be up in the next week or so, and that's going to be risingtidesministry.net or .org or .com. I'm not
Okay.
sure which one it is. I bought all three, so I'm not
Okay.
sure which one we're doing. And then Beyond the Shoreline, which is our media company, which we the award-winning documentary about the Hawaii swim I did, which is on Amazon UK and Ireland right now. And it's on Tubi right now. I don't know why it's not on Amazon USA. It makes no sense. But Beyond the Shoreline, it will be a page on there as well. But you can go to beyondtheshoreline.org and check out stuff on there. But yes, just look me up, message me, any Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to get a hold of me. Feel free. I get messages all the time. I got a 5:30 call tonight. I got a text from somebody last night. I haven't talked to him in 2 years. He's like, "Hey, my buddy's really struggling through addiction right now. Like he's in a bad place. Can you have a conversation with him?" I was like, "I absolutely can." And we coordinated time. We're going to talk at 5:30 tonight. So, like, if you're struggling with something right now, I don't know that I can help, but I can listen and I can point you in the right direction. And I can pray with you. So, yeah, Steve Moby-Leach, Leitch, and you will be. I guarantee you'll find me. There's only one.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty unique, searchable name. So, well, listen, this has been fantastic conversation. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you shared. I think there's so much here for people to find value in and resource really. So thank you for the time today, Steve. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a great conversation.
Folks listening, make sure that you connect with Steve Moby-Leach. Like he said, it won't be hard to Google or find, and we'll have all those connections in the show notes. And as always, thank you all for listening.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?